'Cause I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world. Mount Everest will share me. 'Cause I'm on top of the world. Let me get my earphones. I'm on top of the world. Mount Everest will share me. 'Cause I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world. Mount Everest will share me. Welcome to the live stream, guys. My good name is Womboy. Thank you so much for being here. Yet another night for live streaming. Here we are. Thank you so much when you joining like the live stream. Yep. Ooh, today is on Thursday. I don't know. It just feels. I'm so excited for absolutely no reason. mm. Okay, welcome to the live stream, guys. Bas, y'all. How are you doing? Okay, what is wrong with this thing? Like the live stream, guys, when you join in, let me know how you're doing. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning from wherever you're watching me from. Oh my god, Eve Stewart! It's been a while. It's been a while before I saw you on the live stream. How are you doing? We missed you on the channel. There's no fun in fundamentalism. Okay. How have you been? Versus father is... okay, let me read from the laptop. When you look up, okay. Good evening to you. How are you doing? Okay, wow. What is this thing not this? Why is this thing not connecting? Okay, let me know how is your day going. Okay, we're just getting started here on this live stream. Habari poa sana Eves. Hey, uko aje? How have you been? Good. Everybody's saying mzuri. Okay, good. Um, okay, welcome to the live stream, guys. Let me know how you're doing. So we're gonna still be doing a bunch of questions. I'm about to bite into a big turkey sandwich. Oh my god. I want that. I want the big turkey sandwich. I had a vegetable sandwich for dinner. Yeah, I'm kind of like slowing down on the animal products, but woo, that sounds so nice. Okay, is that for evening or morning? Okay, do you have turkey in Kenya? Yes, we do. Yeah, yes, we do. Actually, you can find all types of things that you can use on a sandwich. Yep, we do have that. Lunch, okay. Okay. Okay, let's start with what would be your spirit animal in your opinion? Okay, let me try. Oh, yeah, you guys had to. What would be your spirit animal? Ooh, pink love. Hi, hi. Why an eagle? I thought perhaps a big cat like a leopard, but I don't know. Okay, spirit animal. Leopard. Okay. I'm gonna see. Maybe I think a rabbit. I think rabbit. Okay, because I want to say ego so bad, but I think ego is the animal that everybody talks about. Be like an ego. All of these motivational speakers talking about ego. So I think that's the only reason I would want to be an ego, just so that you know everybody wants to be an ego. Okay, so I can fly and soar high on long wings. Okay, woo, rabbits are prey. Okay, you know what I like about rabbits is the what is it called? Um, their cunningness. Okay, you know a rabbit can really fool you. Yeah, so I think that's what I would like to have the cunning behaviors of a rabbit. An eagle will swoop down on you. Okay. Ooh. Steven Slater. Hi. Oh, Slater. Sorry, Steven. A scorpion because there's always a sting in the tail. Ooh, scorpion. I had somebody say that they would like to be a squirrel. Why would somebody want to be a squirrel? Okay. And make your rabbit's foot a lucky charm. Ooh, okay. Yeah. I think rabbit. Let me see any other animal. I wouldn't want to be a chicken. I wouldn't want to be a chicken because I kind of feel like chicken don't use their common sense. Bas is the nature of an ego. Okay, the nature of an ego. So, what would you like to be, Bas? Okay, what would be your spirit animal? And guys, today we're gonna do where you guys can choose a random topic and we can have 5 minutes to debate it. So, we are gonna be doing that. Marcel Powell, good vibes, positive, yeah, positive energy. Brrr. Where are you watching me from, Marcel? And everybody, where are you watching me from? My spirit animal is a human. Ooh, why a human? That's interesting. Can you choose human when it comes to spirit animal? Qualities of an ego are like no other controlling from the sky. Okay, controlling from the sky. Yep, God is in control. Hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. Germany. Okay, thank you so much for joining in. Oh my God, my spirit animal is definitely a gorilla. Why? Why a gorilla? That is that's an interesting choice. Why a gorilla? I have never heard anybody say their spirit animal is a gorilla. You're actually the first person, the first person to ever say that. Gorilla. That's the right spelling, Eves. Okay. Wow. Uh, why a gorilla? No. Okay. Wow. I'm trying to think. Why would anyone want to be okay? Why would you know? Adur, I have a crush on you, dear. Oh, thank you. Or what should I say? Welcome here. Where are you watching me from, Adur? Okay. Today we're gonna have a section where you can choose a random topic and we get to talk about it for 5 minutes. Oh, yeah. So maybe today is the I don't know. There was a topic that we're supposed to continue on from yesterday night, but we'll see. Someone choose. Choose well. Okay. Choose smartly. God is in control. Says I love them, and because they are family oriented, strong, and when time comes to fight, they can take care of business. Oh wow. Would you want to be like a male gorilla or a female one? Yeah. And you know, for me, they just have behaviors like so look so much like human that it's like an animal version of human. So I do lion. Why lion? Big brutality but humble gorilla. Okay, yeah. You know, I have seen couple of videos. I don't know if they are AI or not. I've seen couple of videos of gorilla mating in public. It's actually annoying. It's actually annoying. I don't know if it's AI, but I don't know. Whenever I see them, they just pretty much they are so much like humans. You know, it's just annoying. It says nobody else has choice. Nobody else has choice. Okay. And they love bananas like me. Okay. Okay. I think you're the one who won the challenge. Gorilla, you won the challenge definitely. Okay. Basis would like to be like a lion. Okay. Do first impressions matter too much, in your opinion? Well, animals don't care where they mate. Okay. Do you think okay, maybe this is a silly question, but like do you think human care so much about where they where humans mate? It's like I have seen people say that like people who become intimate in public places are like animals, you know. Do first impressions matter too much? Okay, okay. When it comes to yourself, do you care so much about how somebody's gonna look at you and how they're gonna see you the first time? Born around lions, okay. Do first impressions matter too much? Let's go. Okay, welcome to the live stream. Okay, and I know you want my attention, but you're not gonna get it. And unfortunately, the first impressions. Ugh, Lord. Idiot. If says fried chicken is uh fried chicken is fattening. Okay, are you asking me? I'm a boy. Wambo is not a boy, so she wouldn't answer. Okay, then he was standing. I think he's just being racist. Okay, he's just being racist. You know, today somebody came in and then they said when I was streaming the other time that I usually stream, somebody came in and said I don't know what about chicken and watermelon, and somebody educated me that that's racist, and I didn't know that. You know, so oh my god. God is in controls in business. In the business world, first impressions are a big deal. Oh, when it comes to, let's say, relationships, okay, uh it's an American South thing. Oh yeah, I kind of googled and I read and I was like, oh my god, like why are people like that? You know, why would you go on a random person's channel, you don't even know them, and type crap like that? But you have to feel better than somebody, you know. um Okay, do first impressions matter too much? Do you care so much? But maybe when it comes to businesses, I think yes, they do matter too much. But when it comes to relationships, do you usually care how somebody see you for the first time so much? Do you think it's a thing, or people should just love you for who you are? Uh, Okay, thank you, Bas. Thank you, Bas. Okay. Uh, so let me write here. Do first impressions matter too much? People love me from the first meeting. Okay. Do you present yourself? Do you present yourself in a way that, okay, the outfit, do you go out of your way to look good for your date or for your, when people meet you in real life? Okay. I'm a lovable man. Okay, now you're just how do you know you are lovable? Okay, how do you know you're lovable? No, you don't put any. You know, I feel like women put so much effort in like their first look and first appearance, and like, oh, how will this person think about me? How will my eyebrows? You know, just so, and then this one just shows up in a casual look, and it's just when I think women we do overthink when it comes to like the first impression. I think we usually overthink first impression. I disappear. Okay, if so says they love me whether or not I comb my hair. Okay, wow, so you're just lovable, you just do the um if says yes. Did you hunt baboons today? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. You wanna eat some or what? What is the what why do you want to know? God is in control says first impressions do mean a lot, especially for business or hiring. What is wrong with this? Communication is more important. Communication is more important than the way you look. If you can't communicate, doesn't matter how you look. Ooh, okay. Yeah, but I think there's always somebody can show up from the go. You're like, no, no, thank you. Daniel, how are you doing, Daniel? Uh, don't be a brick with lips. um, Piers, how are you doing, Piers? Good to see you. Okay, women first impression is imaginary. Imaginary? Explain that. Okay, I live in Romania. Where is Romania? Okay, let's do this. Okay, choose a random topic and we have 5 minutes to debate it. Maybe something that you wanted a platform to talk about it so much, and we debate it for 5 minutes. You know what? Let me type here. Dr. Akula. Who is that? I forgot to play GTA 6 over. Versus Romania, Eastern Europe. Oh, Eastern Europe, okay. Uh-huh. Is it in the Balkans? God, did you search up Dr. Bug yesterday? You know what? I didn't know why you typed it right there. Okay, I honestly, but I have seen this doctor before when I was researching some information that would be useful. But you know what? Let me search. This chat is intellectual. Okay, okay. Let me see. I was like, why did you type it right there? Why? But I have seen that, and I know there is maybe somebody who talks about gut issues and stuff like that. Um, okay, choose a random topic and we debate it for 5 minutes. Could be very random. What chat? I think they mean chat, like the chat. How you guys are typing? Okay. Share with the group. Oh, share the chat with the group, Dr. Bug. How about the scam of COVID? Okay, do you, is it about the corruption, the embezzlement of the money that was meant for the COVID? Okay, let's go with that one. Okay, let me pin you. Oh, yeah, I think I've seen him before. I'll watch about the foods that you should eat and the one that you shouldn't eat. Thank you so much. I think this is information that I need at this time in my life. Okay, now I'm coming and then we're gonna talk about the COVID. Okay, so we're talking about COVID. Let's go. Uh, ooh, you guys have typed a lot. I had COVID. It was definitely real. Oh my god, you had COVID? Actually, there's nobody that I know in real life that ever had COVID. You had COVID. Did it feel deadly? Did it feel deadly? And what did you do to recover? God is inconsistency, and how the virus was killing people and making them sick. Okay, I think honestly, I never. Okay, by then I was in the village. I was in the village. No, I was in Nairobi, and then when the virus came, I went to the village because we kind of thought that the virus would really spread quickly in Nairobi because of a lot of people. So in the village, actually in my village, I think only one person died from COVID, and they didn't live in the village. They were travelers. They used to travel for their work. So honestly, to be really honest, up to date, okay, I have heard people say that people passed away from the virus, but I kind of kept feeling like it was an imaginary thing. It was not real. Maybe I kept thinking that because there's no one that I know that I really know who died. Although we saw on television, is there anybody that okay, if you're saying that you had the virus, but is there anyone that you know who passed away from the virus? Well, it's circumcision. What is circumcision? And I'm still alive. What did you do to survive? God is in control. Says yes, it was real, but not on the scale the news lied about. Yeah, I think here in Kenya or in African countries, they made so much money from the West. They kind of would just go, the Western world. You guys were willing to give donations, to African governments so that they can save the lives of people. That money never got to people. That money was pocketed by by these leaders. Yes, it was okay. Yeah, boy, Nilos, how are you doing? How do you know? Lots of Americans had it, several died. How is your data different? COVID is gone. What is your method of data collection? Honestly, on my side, it's just basic assumptions sometimes. Yeah. For me, it's just like, there's no one who I knew in real time who had the virus. But it could be because I was in the village. Mm-hmm. What is your method of data collection to prove your point? God is control says yes, and lots of Americans like me never got sick, never got a vaccine, and never wore a mask. Oh, and also me personally, how many of you got the vaccine? Actually, I never got the vaccine, to be really honest. And when the people who got the vaccine used to really, they would get really sick which is surprising, you know. Eve says, let's see your research. Millions didn't comply with that mess. Okay. Yeah. How many of you, if you got a vaccine, let me know. Okay. I don't know for what reason do I want to know, but it's like, okay, for this purpose. Because I never got the vaccine. But maybe because I was just somewhere in the middle of nowhere the whole time. Versus, okay. Other than just making stuff up. What is your method of that? Okay, you who are you asking? Are you all asking me or are you all asking God is in control? What is his method of data collection? Other than just making stuff up twice. Okay. We here had COVID-19. Where are you in? Which place are you in? It's your assertion, not mine. So prove. Wow. Okay, this thing of me wanting to read everywhere, I think I should not leave the chat. God is in control says, like I said, never got the jab, never wore a mask, never got sick. But were you in the middle of nowhere? You never wore a mask the whole time? You never wore a mask? Okay, personally, I was in the middle of nowhere, but we used to wear a mask. Yeah, we used to pretty much wear a mask. But it used to be when you were going to the center. Otherwise, we were just free. You says that proves nothing. Also, everyone's immune system is different. Okay, Duhan Steenkamp says, did you really know? You're stupid. Stupid take of that. Okay, come and do it. Come and do it for me, sir. Oh my God. Come and do it. Ooh, you cannot. That's why you're feeling bad. Come and undo my hair. Eve says that's like saying my neighbor bought a Tesla. I've never seen one. His is red, therefore all Teslas are red. Okay, you know, you need to know. Let me know who are you addressing. God is in control. They were fear mongering people on the news. Kevo says hello, hey, Devil. How are you doing? Eve says, and yes, lots of people still died from COVID. Lots of people died after taking the vaccine. Okay, so you think the vaccine was the problem? Okay. For those of you who took the vaccine, how did it feel? I didn't take the vaccine. Not from anything. It's just like I was in the middle of nowhere. There was no need of taking the vaccine. Vaccine and wearing a mask too. Okay, Bar says COVID-19 was planned to clear populations in Africa. Minerals are important. AIDS never worked. Oh my God. Okay, you know, but that sounds like, how can I make this about me? That's how that sounds. How can I make this about me? How many compared to COVID? I had to travel to Norway. Oh, Richard, how are you doing? Greetings, Princess Wamboy. Hey, you, Richard. Good to see you. How are you doing? We're talking about COVID. Okay, did you ever get the vaccine? No, never got a vaccine. I don't trust them. But then again, I never get sick. Okay, I would have done it anyway. Of course you would. You believe everything you're told. You live in a major city. Okay, Eve says the UK reported 60 deaths from COVID vaccine. 60 compared to 22 million deaths worldwide from COVID. Okay, wow. But the thing is, they didn't need to die from the vaccine, right? If it would have been avoided, you know, was it a trial and error thing? Was the vaccine like a trial, or was it already used before? God is a moment of solace for those who live in the UK. And also, again, 300,000 people die a year from the flu, colds, viruses, etc. They use that as a scare tactic. Wow, okay. They use that as a control tactic, okay. I just don't know. I don't know what's true and what's not true when it comes to the virus, actually, because it killed people, yes, but it's like, I'm like, would they exaggerate that information in all these countries? because it's like it's one thing if they exaggerate the information in the US, but the news from UK would be accurate. The one from African countries would be accurate, and everybody was reporting the same thing. So, okay, what do you think about the vaccination about for the COVID? That's what we are. Okay, actually we have something. Choose a random topic and we debate it for 5 minutes. So let's go. If you have something to talk about, let's go. This is the space and time to do it. God is in Kotosis. Are you going into defense mode? Calling me stupid shows your ignorance and lack of brains. You must be European. Any thought or opinion opposite of yours must be wrong, right? A child can name a call. Okay. Eve says, how do you feel about any vaccination? I'm guessing you don't support any vaccines. Oh, me? How do you feel? Oh, I have had all vaccines that people have as children. No, I agree with the vaccinations if you need the vaccination, but with the COVID, that's the only vaccination that I didn't get. So let's stop sending vaccines to Kenya. No, don't stop sending vaccines. Actually, I have had all the vaccines. Okay. What are the measles, polio, all of those? I had all of the vaccines that are needed. Yeah, but the COVID one is the only one that I skipped, and I believe most people skipped. Why? They don't work, right? They kill people. No, they do work. Okay, I don't know if they work or they don't work, but when you have the vaccinations, it's like you never know if they work or they never work. It's just part of life. You got the vaccines when you are a young child, and that's it. Maybe they prevent something, maybe they do not. We will never know, and unless we are not we do not get the vaccines. God is in control. The only shot I've ever taken was a yellow fever one before going to Africa. Funny, I never get sick. I wouldn't have taken it, but had to travel. Sure, your life is not over yet. Okay. Oh God. You joke. Okay, let's go with this one. Right now, we're doing choose a random topic and we debate it for 5 minutes. Let's see. Okay, honestly, I would like to know what you guys are thinking about. No colds for control, it doesn't get those. Okay, actually, right now, I have been dealing with this cold that I contracted in the village. It's been 2 weeks. Oh, okay, this is the second week, but I'm recovering from it. But who? From his boyfriend. Control is a guy. Okay. Choose a random topic and we debate it for 5 minutes. Okay. A random topic for me would be the fact that somebody does not go to church does not make them a bad person. That would be my random topic. Lucy the Jolly, how are you doing? Hello, beautiful. Hello, you. How are you doing? Good to see you. Okay. What was I asking? Okay, I was asking a question. Oh, I was saying one of my random topics. And guys, right now everybody can throw in their random topic, and we get to discuss it. Okay, so and the longer we discuss it depends on like the next time we get the next random topic. Mine would be my random topic would be the fact that somebody does not go to church does not make them a bad person automatically. And hear me out. I think because we all assume that like people who go to church are saints. So my random thought is going to church does not automatically make you a good person. Okay. God is in control. Says someone's angry. Okay, someone's angry. My immune system is strong. We Texans got a lot of sunlight. Eat lots of meats. Eat good farm-grown food. Stock is cheap though. People like Ava just ignorant. Okay, so you know what? I got it. Control says in Texas, they're just living a healthy life. Okay, so that explains why he never gets sick. Okay, deal with it. He says, well, okay. Thomas says 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes from Thomas without deceased theme. Are feelings are real feelings and emotions of okay are real feelings and emotions of a man's oh, I think you meant are real feelings and emotions a signs of a man weakness or a sign of genuinely loving someone. Ooh, this is interesting. Okay, let me pin you. Wow, this is interesting. Okay. Uh okay, the thing is a man's real feelings a sign of weakness, or is it a sign of genuinely loving someone? Okay, I think personally how I see it, I think when a man cries, for me that's hot. I think he's hot, honestly. I think he's like I can see through your heart. Okay, you're choosing to wear your heart on your sleeve. And I know there's this thing that men tell each other that like if you cry, your woman will not be respecting you anymore. It's like the gangster point. You just lost your gangster point. So I think for me, I think it's genuinely loving someone. Crying, okay, and I think that's one of the things that I love uh, about Western men, okay, because I feel like you guys, the men out there cry. Men out here are hardcore. They do not cry. Okay, what do you think? Let's talk about these 5 minutes. Remember, um, deep sigh. Okay, okay. We already have a question. God is in quotes says, "I do." Some don't live healthy though. Life is what you make it. Okay, that's what it is right there. I'm only okay, Bars. Thank you so much for always watching. Eve says, so question, do men naturally have feelings and emotions? Okay, you guys are the men. Let us see what you have to say. Okay, do you think a man showing his real feelings by crying is a sign of weakness? That's what we are talking about right now. Weak man? Okay, why weak? Why weak? First of all, okay, and I know I've been talking about this lately, why people are interested in Western men. For example, when you look at telling your husband you're pregnant, okay, you look at African videos or like Kenyan videos and you look at the Western ones. The Western ones, I think these men, like, they're so surprised. They're like, oh my God, we are pregnant. And then let's say a tear or two falls and like you can genuinely see this man, you can genuinely see their heart, okay? In Africa, okay, who is the father? Who is the father of this child? Okay, so I feel like maybe that's the difference. I am more attracted to the one of showing your true feelings. Uh, okay, yes, never afraid to cry. Do you cry in front of your woman? Do you allow her to see when you're feeling down? Maybe when you need a hug. You know, are we born to have them? Oh, are men born to show their real feelings or even to have the feelings and emotions? I think so. I think yes. I think yes. I think men are taught to harden over the years, but if that's not taught to them, I don't think they would choose to harden. They would just choose to be human. Lucy Joy says, not at all. Church don't transform people. Only Jesus can do that. Okay. So going to church does not make you a good person. God is in control, but a man who runs on feelings is weak, but showing emotion isn't weakness. Ooh, okay. Reason of crying. You have to have reason for crying. Feelings can be deceiving. You are allowed to have feelings, but you can't let them guide your life. Okay. Would you allow your woman to see you crying, or do you have to hide or something? Losing a comrade in frontline battle. Okay, life is all about feelings and emotions. They guide us. weak men run on feelings and emotions. Life is all about feelings and emotions, okay? Are you guys trying to fight or what is going on here? So let's agree on something, okay? Uh, so are men allowed to have feelings? Yes or no? So they influence us, the feelings and emotions influence us, okay? Hmm. Yeah. I feel like but maybe this is from a woman's perspective, okay? Uh Maybe this is from a woman's perspective, but I kind of feel like, honestly, I can see a life where I am not feeling things. Sometimes I feel somebody have upset me, I feel sad. Sometimes I feel like crying, but maybe that's a woman thing, but I just feel like he's human. Okay, I feel like he's human. Nova says, I hope no one has spoken too much. No, no, it's just perfectly fine. Okay, and guys, choose a random topic and we debate it for 5 minutes. So anyone in the next one. Eve says, no, men are supposed to be robots. We're not allowed to have anything. Oh my god. I know that's supposed to be sarcastic. uh TS means last resort, okay, but I see sometimes why people are encouraged not to have the feelings, because it's like, when you finish crying, the thing that you're crying about will still be there waiting for you to get done. The problem will still be there waiting to get fixed, okay? But let me tell you, maybe sometimes you feel like crying because you feel like you're so much in love. I think those are feelings that are allowed. uh you can cry because you feel, oh my god, like for example, in a case where like you've been trying to get pregnant for years and finally you get, I think that's allowed. God is in control says it's very human for a man to cry. Some cultures don't believe that. Okay, yeah, actually out here a man crying is a sign of weakness. Yeah, it's a sign of weakness. If you're so funny, hang on, need to get down and do some push-ups. Don't move. Okay. Crying could be emotional problems. Okay. Uh, choose a random topic and we debate it for 5 minutes, or we talk about it for 5 minutes. Let's go. Drag Queen Fantasy says, "Hey sister, hey you, how are you doing?" If it's strange, okay. He he likes fighting. He likes fighting. Mm. Yeah, yes, I do remember you. Okay. Uh definitely some okay. Definitely some acts like a woman. Oh my god. Ooh. Don't say that. Wait until he reads. He will attack you back. Um okay. Okay, let's go. Random topic on my side. The most useless things we were taught in school. Some of the most useless things that you think you were taught in school. Okay, let's go. The most useless thing is you were taught in school. Okay. And I know somebody can see that and say, there's nothing that you learn in school that's useless. But I honestly feel like some of the things were unnecessary. Okay, let me see. And also, maybe this we are going to be looking at different countries and see what do you think is one of the most useless thing you were taught in school. Okay. Abud, hi sister, hey you. Buses are crying. Pregnancy, the child will always be crying. Okay, I think that's a myth. God is in control says phone warriors are funny. The more they talk, the more I laugh. Attacking in a chat is hilarious. He's the one who started them calling like a child. Oh God. Okay. Ooh, you Americans are so funny. Stuart says how to bake. Okay, how to bake, how to launder. But those things you use them in real life, right? How to bake, don't you bake in real life? How to launder clothes, I think that you do. We learned that in home economics class. I already knew how to. Oh, you already knew how to do that. Okay, but maybe they taught you how to get more perfect in that. Okay, okay. Let me say some of the ones that I find very unnecessary. Some of the things that we learned in school that I find very unnecessary. Okay, uh, when it comes to mathematics, there were some of those. What were they called? Oh my god, I have forgotten. Okay. But in chemistry, some of those chemical formulas. Okay, I know if you end up becoming a doctor, or if you end up becoming a doctor, you end up becoming a nurse or anything, the chemistry and biology makes sense. But literally, some of the things, the chemical formulas, I just do not use those things right now. Okay, most probably the things that I might use in real life is like biology, human reproduction. I might use that information here and there. Okay, human reproduction. What else? But the maths. Okay, of course, the maths come in handy. Being able to calculate some finances. The business information. I think that's necessary. Um, the Christian religious education was like, it's like, I can see its purpose, but I just don't think it's that necessary also, because all that information you can learn in a church. Okay, at an earlier age, pretty much everyone. Okay, Juju says you probably got told you are stubborn. I don't think that's good. Oh, you know what? Just get done with that whole therapy talk. I just don't need that. Keep working. If it's doubling and compounding my money. Ooh, you already knew how to do that. I think that was pretty important information that I never paid attention to. Pretty much everyone, okay, at an earlier age. God is in quotes. Pretty much everything you learn in school is a waste of time. Ooh, okay. Wow. So there's nothing that you learn in school that you can find interesting or like helpful in real life. Uh, pretty okay. False religions, for example, which religion? Okay, I said for me, I kind of found the Christian religious education and maybe even the IRE. I found maybe they should make they should allow people to pursue that in their churches. You know, it's like, why do you have? Because I feel like that was the purpose of teaching that, just to shove these beliefs down your throat. If Stuart says, I found calculus to be valuable, big money in jobs which use that. Oh, really? And I was gonna say calculus is very useless to me because I never use it. Maybe because I don't deal with big money. Uh, but more practical things such as investing would have been better. Okay, yeah, I think, for example, in the Kenyan system of education, I feel like it teaches you more of being an employee, that it does not focus on like things like investing, starting a business. It just does not focus on those things. It focuses on how to become a good employee, what you should do when you're employed, uh communication. Maybe it focuses on that. God is in Kotosis. Here we learn by life experiences, working the land, working on cars, growing food, hunting, shooting. None of this is taught in school. Also, I've learned stocks and crypto, so I got that too. Okay, you learn that in real life. Okay, so if you would go back in time, would you guys join school? Would you go to school if you would go back in time? Eve says, my dad was a champion shooter. I knew how to do that. Ami taught me to do it their way. Okay. Versus ethics. Pure science or physical science is foolish. Okay. Physical science is foolish. Eve says, I learned survival tactics and navigation in the army. I found that useful. Okay. Let me know some of the useless things that you think you learned from a school. God is inconsistent. In Texas, we start learning to shoot and work hard before 10. Okay. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that China is beating almost everybody at. Okay, have you seen the type of things that these young children in China can make? Okay, they can make functioning watch. They can make these little gadgets that they have. They can make small washing machines. Uh, yeah, I think that's the difference. Okay, honestly, I don't think that will ever happen out here. I think we are more focused on the education also. Yeah, there are so many things you can do what. Okay, let me know some of the useless things you learned from school. Also, choose a random topic and we debate it for 5 minutes. So let's go with the random topics. Okay, what generation? I think we did. I asked this question on the other live stream, but I'm still gonna ask it right here. Which generation had the easiest childhood, in your opinion? But anything without practical is useless. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because it's like you're sitting there reading all of these pages to me of how I can become successful. But you yourself, you're not that successful. Okay, and I'm not in nothing about against these teachers. Okay, for example, in university, you find a lecturer is teaching you how to become a doctor, and then you're wondering why are these people not doctors? You find somebody is giving a lecture on how to become something that they are not. Okay, so mm, that's kind of like interesting to think about. Okay. Yeah, they just teach theory and they never get to teach you practical. God is in control. I think one of the subjects that I did in high school that was really useful is agriculture. I did agriculture in high school, okay? Because of course I'm a farmer, I thought it was also nice for me to do agriculture. Okay. Uh so we planted cabbage for our practical. Okay, so I learned how to plant cabbage in school, and then I went home. I used the same formula or whatever we did with our cabbages at school. My cabbages at school did not do well, the ones that we were gonna get marks on, but the ones that I planted at home were so huge. Actually, that's the biggest cabbage my mother have ever seen. So some of, yeah, so that I think agriculture is one of the good things that I got to learn from high school. There are so many things you can learn and teach yourself from the internet and reading. Yeah, yeah, I think. And today I was seeing somebody talking about like this generation, we are so stuck on like our academic achievements and the generations before. Okay, you're so stuck on like, oh, I have this accomplished. Okay, and then you don't want to detach from, we don't want to detach from our academic achievements and get our hands dirty. I'd say that's most current. Okay. Hello, I'm very, how are you doing? It's always the most current, isn't it? Modern technology, newer ways doing things. Because I enjoyed growing up without smartphones. Ooh, okay. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. I grew up without a smartphone. Actually, I had a smartphone. The first time that I owned a smartphone is before I joined university. I never had a phone. All of these years, never had a phone. Even if I had a crush on a boy, I would have to borrow my mom's phone and like text them and tell them not to text back. Go serve your fiance. You too, go and serve your man. God is growing up without AI. Oh my God, tell me about it. Okay, for me it was even worse. Growing up without electricity, growing up without a phone, growing. But I think that was the best time of my life. That was the best time. Okay, you never get to compare yourself to people, to random people that you don't even know. Hang on, I need to do some. Okay. Are you going to tell us when you sneeze and use the bathroom too? Yes. Yeah, guys, hold on while I drink some water and take a deep breath. Okay, it's important. Okay, it's important. Okay, choose a random topic and we debate it for 5 minutes. That's where we are at. Okay. Okay, we're still at which generations had the easiest childhood? In your opinion, okay? I feel like maybe the generation right now, Generation Alpha and Generation Beta, maybe they will have a good time because most of them will never know what it's like cleaning clothes without having a washer. Okay, like for me, grew up without a washer. Actually, even right now, I do not own a washer or a dryer. Okay, so but these are things of the past when it comes to first world countries. But I think the generations that are coming up, they will know an easy life, you know. Okay, Bas is calling my girlfriend with a padlocked telephone. What does that mean? Guys, welcome to the live stream. Like the live stream, God is incredible. All this modern technology takes away from human interaction. Okay, do you think? Okay, is there anything positive from the internet? Because actually today I asked, what was the question? The question was, what's one invention you think actually made life worse? And everybody said internet. Okay, so it's like we are all on internet, right? We can't even take 20 minutes or 1 hour without scrolling. Maybe we can. I think I can, but that's neither here nor there. So how is it like internet is the worst human invention? Okay, it enhances it. Either way, it evolves. Let's talk about Nigerian. How about that? And the current generation is at the forefront of how to use it and develop the next. Okay. Wow, I think that's creepy. I think that's creepy, Buzz. Don't type that. Slater says, let's talk about the distribution of wealth. Ooh. Okay. Distribution of wealth. In what area? Are we talking about the 1% that is ultra rich? Let me pin you. Distribution of wealth. My parents had old models telephone. Okay, mine too. You all get to interact with me as a result of the internet. Lucky. Okay, okay, me too. Okay, honestly, I see the faults or like the things that internet is causing. There's a lot of what is it called? Stalking as a result of internet. Maybe back in the day you wouldn't be able to stalk people like how that happens right now. The stalking and all of that. So there's positives and negatives to the internet. Unfortunately, right now, because we've already tested a life with the internet, I don't know if we can do a life without. For example, like today I woke up and my internet was not working. For some reason it was just being slow and I couldn't play any video. I was just so livid. I was texting that guy like, fix the internet or something or refund me. It's almost like we can't experience a life without the internet. Eve says there are 3,428 billionaires in the world. In the world, that is a small number. Distribution of wealth depends on the country. But says before digital, we had telephone. We had to round with the finger each number. I know. I just made $200 in a quick scalp trade. Less than a minute. Oh, okay. The average American makes $211 per day. No way. I don't think that's true. $211 per day? I don't think that's true. Okay. Let me research. How much do the average American make per day? So then we should all move to America if they're okay. Let me research how much. Per day. No, I don't want per year. Wow. And it's 206 per day. $206. Ooh. Okay, but you have to look at the cost of living. I think most people out here do not even make that much per month. Okay, most people don't even make that much per month. I think maybe that's the average income for the month, for the whole month for most people. Between 200 and 300. I think that's the, yeah. Wow. Having your own business here is great too. It's nice being your own boss, okay? So that would also help with the distribution of wealth, okay? You know, we have to talk about what do the rich do that maybe everybody else does not do. It might be between 200 and 250. 206. That's what I got. I just thought it was like at most $60 per day. Now I see you pick and choose who you talk to with here. I don't pick and choose who I talk to in here. Okay, it's like when you type something and it's not making sense. So you said let's talk about Kenyan and Nigerian men, Kenyan ladies and Nigerian men. Oh, so that, okay, you know what? I'm gonna pin you next. No, don't say that I'm picking and choosing. It's like I never thought about it as a topic. Okay, because what do we talk about when it comes to Kenyan ladies and Nigerian men? But you know what? I'm gonna pin. I'm not ignoring you, and I'm not picking and choosing who I pin. It's just I just didn't think there's something to talk about when it comes to that. Okay, I'm gonna pin you and see what people have to say. But it is in that range somewhere. God is in control. For example, last Friday I made 1K on one day. Wow. Okay, but see, when it comes to business, there's days that you make a lot, and then there's other days that you don't make anything. I have a day job and day trade futures on the side. I do all right. Bills is a lot here. How much? Okay, I'm gonna pin you next. If says if you know how to invest on the side, you can do all right. Most Americans, particularly young Americans, don't know much about any of this. Okay, and I think most people, most young, when you are young, even you guys, for those of you who have some years to yourself, okay, I don't think you started out with the knowledge. I kind of feel like maybe with time, this knowledge comes with time, maybe. I'm not ignoring you. It's just I didn't think there was anything to talk about when it comes to Kenyan and Nigerian men. Winnie Misula, hi. God is in control, says, and it depends on which state you live in. Pay is different. So is the economy. California gas is $7 a gallon. Texas is $3 a gallon. Okay, wow, that you know, it seems like it's cheap over there. So in California, they are more likely to make more money. May have a salary of nothing because of bills. Okay. God is in consensus. And I talk to you about gold and silver. It's good to invest in both. They always hold value. Okay. How about gold and silver? How do you invest in that? Do you go around buying gold and keeping it? No, it's not. Gas in California is $5.5 okay, per gallon. Okay. On average, propaganda. I was just on LA a month ago. Terrible place. I'm on the west coast. Okay. Oh, Seattle is in the west coast. East coast, west coast. Never go to California. $7 versus give me a jacket for moderation. Okay. I think I have like lots of moderators. Anytime that I have moderators here, they end up ghosting me. So I just said that I'm not gonna have them. Maybe in the future, but not at the moment. Yes, that is state of why? Okay, guys, let's still do choose a random topic and we debate it for 5 minutes. There's somebody who wanted to talk about Kenyan ladies and Nigerian men. So if you have something to say about that, let's go. Control. Okay, he hates people. Strict laws too, and the restaurants make you tip. It's part of the bill. Let me. Okay, you know what? Let's talk about the tipping. I think the American tipping culture is like insane. Okay, there's a time that I wanted to buy to surprise somebody something, and it's like, okay, it's like I should tip if I want to. It's like God is. I think the tipping culture in the US is out of control. If you don't tip people, they get upset. It's like, uh, okay, it's like if you don't tip people, how did you all get there? And like these days, people have high expectations of the tip. Let's say if you tip $5, it's like it's all right, but if you tip 20, it's like okay. Why are the Kenyan men afraid of the Nigerian? Well, I don't know if that's a thing. Okay, see, that's why you were saying that I was ignoring. See, I honestly don't think that's a thing. I don't think that's a thing, and I'm not here to preach, propaganda things that I don't know if they are true for sure. Um, I'm all about easy. Okay, let's talk about the tipping culture. Okay, is it that Americans are so uh generous? Oh, do you all think that the tipping culture is out of control, or is it all what you like to do? Okay, I know one thing about Nairobi. Okay, please don't get hooked. Don't get hooked. Where? Yeah, when I was in Europe, tipping was not part of the culture. Same for in Uganda. Here in the south, we tip out of courtesy, but you don't have to. Okay, in Nairobi, some of these high-end restaurants that I've been to, is like, yes, they don't get, actually most Europeans do not tip. That's a thing. Okay, most Europeans do not tip. Okay, but when you go to these places where Americans go to, these waiters are expecting something, and if you don't, let me tell you, the next time you go there, they're not gonna be running they're not gonna be running to your table. Yes. And why is gas so expensive? Could it be Trump's war on Iran? Ooh. Okay, random topic. That's a nice one. Let's spin that. Why is gas so expensive? Could it be Trump's war on Iran? Okay, let's go on that one. Uh, with topics, please don't get hooked with topics. What does that mean? How can I get hooked? Caused all prices to rise. Okay, I don't know. I know you can't question who people voted for. I think that's their political. That's their Is it democratic right? Okay, democratic right. God is equal to says, but Europe, their culture is very greedy and selfish. Oh, really? How? How is it greedy and selfish? Okay, I know. There's this place that I used to work, not work. I went to attachment over there, attachment internship. Okay, it was a German corporation. Okay, but locals here are used to, when it comes to Mzungus, people who are light skinned, or white people, they're used to like expecting free handouts. Mzungu will hand you some money. Okay, so so in that German corporation, people had this expectation that, like, okay, when it's muzungus, they give random cash and stuff. Okay, so in that organization there was lots of Germans. Okay, but there was lots of Germans, but they never gave people money. They were just they were just being like random people, like Kenyans. Okay, and people so people in that organization or like around had these assumptions, Germans are so selfish. So is it that people have unrealistic expectations when it comes to what other people should give you? And maybe people do not owe you anything at the end of the day. Uh, please no. Okay, God, why did I type? Okay, let me remove that. Please. But you okay? Please no. Okay, when you discuss some matters could breach your freedom of travel. Okay, actually, I'm not even in a position to discuss. Okay, I can hold the conversation because it's not like I'm out there like attacking anybody. But thank you for the concern. KVVW says interracial relations. Ooh. So that's the next one. Interracial relations. The random topic. That's our next one. Okay, I'm gonna pin UKVV. Make sure you stay. God is because says if so truly just expose his ignorance. I've never voted. No care about politics. Nice try though. Of course not. You just like to campaign. How convenient. And yes, one boy, when I was in Uganda, I'd always give extra money to people, also tipping them a lot, and they were very thankful. Okay, but do you think that maybe gives people unrealistic expectation? If you are Mzungu, you're kind of like you're kind of you just have money to give, and I think that's why people get upset when maybe some Europeans come and they're not giving cash like that. But like the Bible says, it's better to give than to receive. Okay, so that's where you guys read from. Eve says, I don't vote, but I want to complain about everything. You can't. Okay, he's being sarcastic. I take a stand. He's a wimp. Okay, let's do this. Okay, the question is, choose a random topic and we debate it. Now we are doing interracial relations. KVV said interracial relations. Okay, let's go on that one. Random thoughts. Okay. Not all Mzungu have money. Okay. Yeah, and I think that's an assumption that most Africans have, that like, because people would really like be like, oh, these Germans are really selfish, because maybe they're used to like seeing like what God is in control says, like he's tipping, he's leaving some extra cash. Maybe they're used to that, and then you're not giving anything. It's like, what is wrong with this person? Where is our money, the one that you're supposed to give us? I feel like expecting something from people sometimes can take away from the experience. He likes to complain about the result without taking part in it. God is in control, but also helping the locals in the villages in Uganda is good for them. It gives them a job. We are part of a non-profit helping locals to make cash crops. Okay, that I think that's really nice. That's even nicer than giving people handouts, giving people money. It's like when you show somebody how to do something, I feel like that's even better. Okay, when you get when you get people started on how they can do something that can make them a little bit of cash, that's something nice, because I feel like people like to like give you some random cash, and not just because you're gonna eat. It's like giving you food for this meal and not worrying about what are you gonna eat later on. So hang on, I need to do some artwork. Okay, that was real quick. Interracial relationships I support. What are the pros and cons of being in interracial relationships? Bas says Uzunguni money is hardworking. Okay. Yeah. Okay, KVV says I would love to meet your interracial date at least. Oh, you'd have to have interracial date. Okay. Okay. Returned. Okay, sorry. Where are you from, please? Kenya. Okay, the thing is, I just feel like, honestly, I just see it as a human experience. Okay, we overthink it maybe because of the past and the things that we because of the past and all of that. But honestly, I just see it as like whoever you fall in love with doesn't matter. Go for it. What do you think? KVV, God is in control, says, but sometimes people don't want the culture to go with it. Gotta be open minded. Like for us, I love the African culture and she love ours. Okay. Yeah. You want to I talked about feeling like there are people, okay, there are black people who want to be with white people, but it's not like they want to be with you as a person. They want to be with somebody who is that color, okay? And I feel like it's the same thing. There are people who are just curious how it's like to be with a black person, and honestly you don't want to marry somebody who like that, because at the end of the day they don't love you, they love the idea of you. So there's a thin line right there. God is in control says cultural differences can be the biggest issue, but depends on the person. Yeah, you have to be open. It's like you just don't, you have to love them and the culture and everything. Control has never been to Africa. I call BS. He's far too close-minded to leave Texas. Versus interracial is very hard. The children spend long looking for their identity. Woo. Okay, do you guys think that the children born in interracial relationships spend most of their lives looking for an identity? Okay, maybe I feel like is if let's say for example you have a girl from Africa, a black woman from Africa, okay, and so she moves, you guys start a life, let's say in France, okay. So the children are more exposed to the culture of being French, okay. But remember, they are not white; they are mixed, okay. So I feel like that's, and see, you guys have to assimilate and live according to the French standards, right? So I feel like that's where the thing gets in. Okay, that's where the problem gets in, because they are being exposed to one culture more than the other one. Okay, so the other culture, the other African culture, it just does not feel like it's part of who they are. Okay, whatever. So, oh my god, why would you say that? It's like, why would you say that? Why would you say stuff like that? I think you're just looking for attention. It's like I said, choose a random topic and we debate it for 5 minutes. But it's like, see, I gave you an opportunity. Nobody jumped on the topic. God is in control says, like I said, Africa was more free than Europe. I got along with all her family and friends. They loved me there because I respected their culture and gave a lot to the people, okay? You want to visit Amsterdam? Oh, in the future. In the future, yes. And also, what was crazy is the similarity in culture between here and Uganda. And African women love white American men, especially guys like me, because we do a lot for the family there. Okay? Yeah. I know that's a thing. The white have a problem accepting other races into theirs. Ooh, let's talk about that. Do you guys feel like white people? Okay, I am talking about, choose a random topic and we debate it. KVV wants to talk about interracial relations, okay? And Bas says white people have a problem accepting other races into theirs. Okay, do you think that's a thing? because that's a huge thing, especially when there's children involved or there's a product. Okay, Yeki says, you keep ignoring me. No, I'm not ignoring you. What do you want to talk about? Type the question. Okay, type the question. You can say, let's talk about Kenyan women and Nigerian men. What is the question there? If I told you I came from USA, you would give me attention. Oh yeah, that's what it is. Okay, just go around looking for attention for absolutely no reason. Bob is Nigerian, and I always, Bob, have I ever ignored your chat because you're Nigerian? You know, it's just like, if you're not offering substance, I gave everybody a chance here. Choose a random topic and we debate it. Have I not read anybody's chat? Would invite you to Amsterdam. Oh, wow. Okay, thank you. Bob, how are you doing, Bob? Good to see you. But because I started with Nigerian, you just keep ignoring. Okay, you know what? Keep believing that. That's why I'm ignoring you. You know, type some sense and see if you're not going to talk about it. Oh my God, everybody wants to go out here being a victim. God is in quotations, but some white men don't find black women attractive. So do long as you all respect each other's culture and have good chemistry, there's nothing wrong with interracial marriage. Yeah, and seeing the other person as a person and not as an object, because I okay. Okay, says that's not true. Okay, you know what? Mm-hmm. Bob is saying to Iyeke, please tell me you're not Nigerian. He's saying that he is. Okay, so see, I give people a random chance, and then the thing that he wants to talk about is, let's talk about Nigerian men and Kenyan women. Okay, and then he wants to talk about the fight between Nigerian men and Kenyan men. I don't know about that. I do not know about that. And the last thing that I want to do is to be here talking about propaganda that I don't know. Okay, and then I said, okay, let's people jump on that, and nobody jumped on that, and now you want to be a victim. Maybe whites in Europe, but not here in Texas. My wife experienced a lot of discrimination in Europe. She hadn't even one time here. Okay, wow, that's interesting. Maybe because they don't have a lot of other races. You know, I think in the US is a mixture of everything, but in Europe it's mostly white. I feel like maybe it's the same way, like the way you get stairs when you come to Africa, because it's mostly black, especially in villages. I think maybe it's the same thing. KVV says, think interracials make the most beautiful children. I gotta say, I find the children from interracial situations attractive or beautiful. Bob says, no, I don't think he's Nigerian. He might be Ghanaian. No, Bob is from Nigeria. I think Bob have watched me for a long time, and he's never said that I'm ignoring what he's saying. Okay. Oh, Maloende Mabaso. How are you doing, Maloe? Is it Maloende? Thank you so much for the support, actually. Eve says, I'm a white man. I find black women attractive. What I don't like is ghetto behavior. Okay, now you have some rules, but that can be all races in America. You don't like ghetto behavior. Okay, let me know some of the ghetto behaviors that black people exhume, because you wouldn't have said that if you were thinking about a white person. Bob, you're Nigerian. Why refuse to talk about Nigeria? Okay. Let me know some of the ghetto behaviors that you think black people exhume. Let's go with that. America is a mix of cultures and races. Europe is more homogeneous. Yeah, and I think that's what it is. It's not like they choose to be racist. It's just like it's just like they're not exposed, or they have not gotten to a point where like they get to see black people as humans or as equals. They have not gotten to that point yet. Yeah, let me get the laptop right now. Bob says to Ike, can't say the part of Nigeria he's from. I think he's just trolling and pretending to be Nigerian. Oh, but don't even start me up, okay? You're just looking to pick fights. Dingo says, what do you think about Indian immigrants? In which country? Bob says, I think Nigerian men are a mess. It's a huge population. You're born to see the worst and the best. Okay, yeah. But I feel like walking around trying to be a victim will not work on everyone. God is inclusive. Also, we are going back to Uganda this year, one boy, and plan on visiting Kenya. Been she's been many times, but I haven't. When we go, I'll let you know. Okay. Oh wow. Okay. Actually, I think it's almost the end of the year, and people are planning their end of year trips. Let me know where you're going for the end of the year. Because it's, if you have been talking about American California here, where if okay. Ugh. I mean Seattle, Bob. I'm American. For your information. Okay, you I'm in Dallas. Oh my god, you're just all over the place. You know what? Quit lying. Please always tell people you're American. Don't tarnish the image of Nigeria. Okay. Oh god, yeah. You know what? Let me just laugh. Okay, choose a random topic. Choose a random topic and we debate it for 5 minutes. Let's keep going with that one. I'm German. Okay. No, he's just trying to be messy. Okay, he's just trying to be messy. The thing is like he thinks that he's not getting attention as a Nigerian. So okay. Lived in Seattle, grew up in Michigan. Never lived in Germany. Okay. Okay. Okay, God is in quotations. Let's talk about how criminal the medical industry is. Okay, let's go with that one. Okay, and maybe start us up on the context. Okay. You know what? I think I like this because I give you guys a chance to like talk. Because yeah, safe space right here. Bob says, how could I not defend Nigeria? Did Nigeria need defending? Okay, that's it. Thank you so much. In what country? I think in the US. How criminal the medical industry is. Oh, I think I was telling you guys a story. Okay, of course, recently I have been having lots of gut issues, okay? And then for some reason, I don't know how these gadgets work, but when you're going through something, I promise you, when you're scrolling, you'll see a video about whatever you're going through, okay? So I was scrolling and I saw this lady talking about something, but it was not related to what it was kind of related, but not really related, okay? So she had a small issue, and then they suggested a surgery, okay? And then when she went on with the surgery, they destroyed her large intestines, and she got a hole on, I don't know if it was the large intestine or small intestine. So at the end of the day, she had to have her, I don't know, how do you call when you get your butthole shut? Okay, but all of this would not have happened if they didn't do the first surgery in the first place. Okay, so woo. After this debate, let's talk about how the monetary order needs to be revamped. Ooh, yeah. So we have that. That's what we're talking about next. Okay, let's do with the medical industry. I'm still waiting for Control to give the context to hear from the horse's mouth. Okay, yeah. Okay, let me know from whatever country you're watching me from. Let me know. Do you think the medical industry is evil and criminal? Okay, do you think like sometimes they do you think sometimes they make the problem worse other than fixing the problems of their patients? Do you think that sometimes they can make it worse? Do you think that the medical industry is all about is a business, is all about a business right now? Okay, God is in control says, okay, I'll start. One of the issues here is they will sell you medications and say it's safe. 10 years later, those same companies receive lawsuits because it was killing people or giving them cancer. Okay, you know what, when it comes to women's health, and you all know that I'm an advocate for women, when it comes to women health, this is a family planning method, usually 3 months. I don't know what's the name of that medication, but it was being administered to women for years. I think that it has been available for years. Okay, and then recently they said that that medicine causes depression. It can cause cancer, all of these things. And I'm like, they've been administering these things on women for 10 years until people started having the side effects that were resulting into something else. Okay, so woo. Mhm. Okay, let's go. Background economics. Okay, health insurance alone is criminal. Oh my god. Especially in the US. I have seen, there's a time that my fiance was sick, and he had to go to the to the ER, and he ended up staying over for 2 or 3 days. The bill, even with a health insurance, it was like, whoa. Oh my god. Uh, okay, let me scroll up. There are thousands of medical lawyers here that sue companies for wrong practice of medicine. Okay, don't take medications easy. Your life will never be in danger that way. Okay, are you being I think you're being sarcastic, but it's like, are you being sarcastic? Bob says to Bas, I studied economics too. What school of thought appeals to you more? Wow. Hey, I have intellectuals in here, my good friends. It sounds like an easy fix to me. Control. Okay, refuse all medicine. Yeah, but take the jab has to. Okay. You guys, when you like attacking each other. Okay. And we are coming to Bob's next, but okay, let's keep doing this. Macroeconomics is basic work. You don't have to do it, so don't stop complaining. Okay, Young San Kabwata says, hey, how are you doing? Good. Yeah, I think medicines are really nice and all of that. Medicine, sometimes, god, sometimes I even wonder, what would I be doing with the headaches if the painkillers did not exist. What would we be doing with that, but at the same time, it's like, sometimes you can get bad recommendations, or like they can be so quick to tell you, oh, let's go on with the surgery, when maybe you can borrow time and maybe you can heal. I don't know. I don't trust the medical industry. It's a business. They need sick customers. I have doctors in my family and they would tell you the same. I don't take pills or medicines or vaccines. Okay. Do you believe that maybe God will heal you? Because out here there are people who are religious, and their religious belief does not allow them to go to the hospital, so they never go to the hospital. They just believe that God will cure. Okay, but I think that's backward, not in a bad way, but it's like, honestly, God, this is the same God that have given doctors the knowledge to even do that. So Bob says to Bas, I meant like Austrian school monetarist. Okay, medical economics countries are being swindled a lot of money. Eve says, what in American is into business? This is how most Americans want it. Anyone else is socialism. Okay, so everything in the US is a business, even churches. The government has the cure to everything, but then if people were healed, big pharmacy doesn't make billions. Ooh, okay. This is BS. He's not worthy of any debate. Okay. No, I feel like I believe in giving people a chance to speak their mind. Doctors from abroad falsely believed to heal. Okay. Yeah, I have seen so many doctors being hired out here in Kenya. Doctors from abroad, and I'm like, we are also training. How do you think these people are gods that are just healing? He's into conspiracies that lunacy can't ever be debated. Okay, let's okay, we are still on that, but I know God is in control, is typing. Okay, But like honestly, I believe some of the things that he's saying, because yes, it's literally a business. Okay, let me pin Bob. The key to healing is by nature. Okay, how do you heal by nature? Let me pin Bob. How the monetary order needs to be revamped. Okay, and see, let's do this, Bob. Give us the context. That's how you're doing. So they go, then use nature. I think you're just despising everything that he's saying. I believe in giving people a chance to uh, talk. Okay, Osimuboy. Okay, we are doing right now what we are doing. Remember, we are doing random thoughts. You should never ever have a heart problem, stroke, nor die of old age. You'll never die from envy. You become immortal. Okay, okay, God is in control says holistic medicines. Like in Africa, they have a plant for everything. It's awesome. Yeah. But I think that have kind of like be that have been overtaken by modern medicine, okay? Because I think it's tiresome whenever you have any type of disease. It's tiresome to go out there searching for these plants, okay? We used to do that sometimes. But it's like it's tiresome. But see, right now you can get a pill with everything. Okay, they do the hard work for you and they make the medicine. Okay, the Bible says nobody is guaranteed tomorrow. There's no disease in Kenya. There's no disease in Kenya. None. No, there's diseases in Kenya. Okay, let's go with the Bob. Monetary order needs to be revamped. Okay, let's go on that one. But we can still talk about the medicine. Keep sending your thoughts. Keep sending your thoughts right there. Okay, I will read. Let me read God is in control first because it's about the medicine. And then we come back to that. Modern medicine has its place, but it should be by choice, not forced. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Bas is my advice. Take more time to read. You will be a sharp host. Okay, I think I am. I think I am a sharp host. Bob says organizations like the IMF and the petrodollar need a reevaluation. I'm essentially calling for a revisit of the institution born of the Bretton Woods Conference. Wow, I don't. Is this my field? Okay, Breton. So, okay, I believe you are still typing. Okay, and guys, contribute to this topic. How the monetary order needs to be revamped. Okay, I am not into economics and into finance, but this is where I get to learn. You can make your choice. It says you can choose not to have a vaccine if your job disagrees. You can leave the job. Nobody forces you solved. Okay. Why do you have to be so rude about everything is? Okay. Wow. Organization like IMF and the petrodollar needs a reevaluation. I'm essentially calling for a revisit of the institutions born of the Bretton Woods Conference. Okay. Oh my. I think this is too intelligent for me. Okay. The intelligent gang here. Stuart, and contribute. You will be interviewing presidents and billionaires in future. Okay. Amen. Okay, let's go on this one. I think, Bob, you're too intelligent for for these people and also for me, especially for me. Or maybe this is not my field. Okay, but I believe you're typing. So let me see what you type next. The popular one is how the IMF was set up under the Marshall Plan to rebuild a war-torn Europe. Okay. So So what is what will the revamping do? What will be the benefit of doing the revamp? Okay. See, Bob, I'm telling you, I think you're too intelligent for everybody. Okay, all these people who, when it comes to all of this, but let's see. I believe they are typing also. Wow. Hey, you're too intelligent, my good friend. Oh, you're too informed. Yeah. Okay, and for those of you who are just joining in, my good name is Womboy. We are doing choose a random topic and we debate. eat for 5 minutes. Bob says the same organization today gives out loans to LDCs along with conditions that are sometimes too strict and imposed Western ideals onto them. Okay, now at least I'm starting to catch up. I'm starting to catch up. Okay. The topic revamping is a whole book. Example, structure adjustment program. Okay, I feel like the Western ideals have been shoved into everything out here in Africa. Okay, very few farms operate without thinking about the Western ideals. So I don't know if that can ever happen, and I don't know if the revamping can happen. Do you think if you would do such a project, or you would recommend that, do you think people would take on that in Nigeria? Because honestly, I gotta tell you, here in Kenya, copying the Western culture, copying the Western idealism is literally our thing, I think, so far. In summary, they are set up with the official branding of helping nations develop, but in reality, they work to keep them poor. Okay, see, there's more benefit. I feel like there's more benefit in keeping Africa poor than in helping Africa to develop into something. Okay, there's more benefit uh, in having the African leaders kneel down to the Western presidents. There's more benefit in that. So see, what if they made Africa rich, or what if they helped Africa to become rich? Then you guys are not giving the free resources. Uh, you guys are not. You're not out there being. Right now, I feel like most people, other countries benefit in the lack of confidence that even African leaders have. Okay, you see, a whole president is out there humbling themselves in front of a Western president, and it's just the thing. Speaking of Western ideals, I hate how we keep confusing Westernization for development. Okay, yeah, I have talked about that when it comes to language. Okay, people feel like, or people out here feel like, the more, okay, if you can speak fluent English, that is a measure of intelligence. That is a measure of intelligence. So I see what you're saying. Yeah, and if and see, when during the colonization days, people, the colonizers thought the Africans were dumb because they couldn't speak in English. Okay, so it's like, this person can speak their own language. How is that dumb? It says, what reason do you think keeping Africa poor is beneficial? Is it economic? Is it political? Both. It's I feel, in my opinion, I feel like it's economic and it's political. Economically, keeping Africa poor helps the Western world to keep taking the resources from Africa. Politically, so that the Western world can still have the influence. It's modern day colonization, neocolonialism. Africa has a lot of raw materials. Go figure. Africa is the reason for the whole world. Well, okay. I don't know about that, but I would say yes, there's lots of resources. Africa in recent times is also exporting a lot of cheap talent because of lack of opportunities, not jobs. Eve says during the Cold War, Africa shouldered a lot of the proxy wars. China exploits a lot of resources in exchange for building civil projects, and that's true. Actually, like here in Kenya, China have a lot. Almost everywhere you'll see these Chinese. They are building most of the major roads in Nairobi. They are the ones who have constructed. Let me tell you, you guys, we should watch out for China. China will be the next big thing, to be really honest. In my opinion, they will be the next big thing. They are going out there giving loans to African countries. Yeah, before you realize, they will own almost all of Africa. Watch out. Let's go. All the big powers do it. Bob says Nigeria, for example, is one of the most brain drained countries in the world. Yeah, and I think that's why Nigeria is mostly famous, because lots of Nigerians go to other countries for opportunity. But isn't there a lot of corruption in Nigeria? But it's the whole minerals that the world depends on. Okay. And then French West Africa is controlled by France. Okay. This is why people leave. Oh no, the reason why people leave is for the opportunities, okay? Is there's no job. So it's like it's either you stay and you don't export your talent, then you're gonna be poor, or you leave and you maybe you go some other place, you offer your cheap labor. Yep. France controls their money supply, which is a key factor in reshaping any economy. Wow. Eve says, Wamboi, how can corruption be solved and prevented in Kenya? Woo. How can corruption be solved and prevented in Kenya? You know, by accountability. First of all, it needs to start at the grassroots, okay? You know, I feel like corruption, just like any other thing, I feel like corruption is taught and passed down from one generation to another, right? So it would start with the small things. For example, out here when you're driving, you can drive a wrecked car, you can decide not to wear a seatbelt. Okay, but see the next traffic officer that you're gonna meet, as far as you have like some cash, you just pass it to them and they're not gonna check your car, they just let you go. Okay, it need to stop with small things like that. These people need to be held accountable, okay? We need to stop giving bribes and they need to stop taking, okay? I don't know if, okay, let me pose this question to people. How can corruption be solved and prevented? Maybe in African countries or whatever. Let's go. Resolved rather. Okay, I don't think I have an answer to that, because you know, a habit is a disease. A habit is a disease. I don't think it can just work. You can just say, oh, let's now stop being corrupt. We should not export unworked mineral. Okay, yeah, but see, if you don't have the right tools to be able to work on the mineral, and that's where the deal is at. Eve says, no, corruption alone doesn't make people leave. Corruption is everywhere. People leave to find better opportunities. You can develop with corruption. So how? Oh man, going into why Nigerians travel could be a whole book. It's both an internal and external problem. Versus hard love way out of Africa. Eve says, Nigerians I know all say getting ahead there was harder than the US. Okay, I don't know. Okay, Bob says internally, infrastructure has been too concentrated, especially after the Civil War. Okay. Yeah, also some of the other factors is like overpopulation, which, you know, the overpopulation, there's no jobs because of overpopulation, you know. Yeah, but see, places like the US, it's built for such, you know, I feel like the US is built for a lot of people, so they can handle employing and it's like, even if you're not employed, you can do the small works, you know, and see, when you do that, when you convert that money to your local money, it becomes good money. That's why they left. I know that's anecdote, but the vast majority tell me this. Okay, the West is a bitter adversary for Africa. Bob says corruption cannot be solved or prevented. It can only be mitigated. USA is also corrupt. Look at Donald Trump. Okay. He says it can, but not to the same degree as other countries currently. Okay. God is in control says corruption will never be cured in Africa. Hate to say it. And bribing is a huge issue, especially that first-handed. But luckily, I was a smooth talker. Okay. Oh, you're a smooth talker. Let me tell you. Okay. So we are in Nairobi. Okay. We hired this car. Okay, it was a nice car. Okay, we hired this car. So my fiance, of course, he's American. You guys are used to driving on the right side of the road. Okay, and you know Nairobi. If you've ever driven in Nairobi, actually salute to you if you've ever driven in Nairobi. So, we are on Mombasa Road. We are driving down. We wanted to go to a Safaricom shop or something. Okay, but we were just basically, actually the next day we had planned to take a long drive to where I stay at. Okay, so we are driving, and for some reason he forgets he forgets to stay on the left side, because we drive on the left. Okay, so uh so we went down this small road, okay, and there was a car that was parked. You know how we are careless out here, like we just park anywhere, there's no order, there's no traffic lights, everybody is everywhere. So he pulled over, but guess what, he pulled over on the right side, just next to the oncoming traffic, okay, and he scratched the car for this guy. I think he scratched two cars, but one of them was the one they came on to us, and they were like, oh my god, they were like, they wanted to like swallow us, you know. But they just wanted money, okay. The moment we gave them the money that they wanted, it was not, I think they wanted like $120 right there and then, okay. So things like that, okay, things like small things like that. Maybe if it's another country, we would have like, okay, contact your insurance, let's contact my insurance. But see, like out here, you don't want to find yourself into problems because they will want to harvest money out of you, especially if you're from the west, okay. They're gonna harvest you. uh okay, I have lots. Are you saying that the US is just as corrupt as Nigeria or Kenya? We have a promising future. Uh-huh. Okay, why did I, when did I, you didn't have to. It's a question nonetheless. How do they compare? God is in control says there's lots of corruption in the USA, it's just easier to hide. Okay, and see, there's corruption in places like the US, but it's not, I don't think that's direct. Okay, I don't think that's direct. Okay, Bob says to Eve, you have selective reading. I said corruption is everywhere and can only be mitigated. Not once did I say anyone had the same levels as another, okay? Okay, no, let's not just get off topic here unless you can't answer the question, okay? Bob says USA is corrupt and it always will be. Take it or leave it. If USA has a corruption level of 2%, that's still corruption, okay? 2%? Ooh, okay. And those of you who are just joining in, let me know how you're doing. We are doing choose a random topic and we debate it for 5 minutes. So, but we are ending up debating it for a while. But if you have a random topic that we can talk about, let's go on that. The population wise, the future is Africa. I feel like everybody in the Western world is like, okay, there's lots of child free people in the Western world. Honestly, I am so concerned about you all's population, and I know it's not none of my business, but like at least out here, people are still breeding. People are still having 10 children. So the population wise, yes, the future is Africa. Remember, you were talking about Africa here. Then you made the claim that US is corrupt. God is in control says, the thing is the thing is, okay, where is the chart? The thing is, to corruption is all over the world, in every single country. Mankind is in a fallen nature, is indeed a sin. But at least in the West, I feel like at least, you know, out here corruption is so much direct, okay? To get a job, what can you give? Okay, it's like the one who is giving the money is the one who is getting the job. Europe may become Arab countries. In what way? Wow. Uh, of course you will. You can't answer. Okay, God is in. Hey Bob, if it's just ignorance, Wambo should buy him. Okay, but I just feel like he's arguing the point. Is like if okay, I will not ban him, but it's like if you feel like maybe he's being ignorant, just ignore him. Stormtrooper says yes, ma'am. uh Spider-Man versus Batman. I don't know how, you know, I don't know anything about Spider-Man or Batman. You can never get away from corruption, really, okay? Hmm. Stayed the longest today. Okay, thank you so much. Bob says Malthusian population theory was already proven false. What is that theory? Tell me about it. Population growth isn't bad in it of itself. The problem comes from poor management of the human resource. Okay, wow. Yeah, if there's lots of people than the amount of resources that there is, that can become a problem, I think. Conspiracy always turn out to be truth, okay? If I'm part of that corruption, I will defend it, okay? Let me tell you, it's corruption until it's you getting the opportunities, okay? It's corruption until it's you getting the connected, okay? But honestly, if all of us stopped being corrupt, maybe that would fix the problem. So let's continue. Let's continue to populate the planet. We'll never run out of resources, okay? I learned from Buzz. What's the first lesson, Buzz? Okay. Okay. Bob says, proposed by Thomas Malthus in his 1798 an essay on the principle of population. Human population grows exponentially. Bob says, while food supply grows arithmetically without checks, population eventually outpaces resources, leading to a crisis. Okay. 1798. Wow. Guess what? England's population boomed, and that didn't happen. Okay. Yeah, I think right now it can be a problem, especially in like, yeah, it can be a problem, especially if the resources gets. Look at India. I think India have the highest population, right? Okay, look at their quality of life, and maybe their quality of life is almost the same as Africa, but like, yeah, if you're increasing the population without increasing the resources, it can become, we can have an imbalance right there. Bob says economists time and time again have proven this to be wrong. The problem has always been management. Okay, the problem has always been management. Africa is bigger than China. Only China and India alone have double Africa's population. In China, okay, wow. I didn't know China has a huge population. You know, China, they did the one child rule. Is it China or which country is it where they did the one child? We can handle the population boom, okay? I don't know if, like, I think it's China. They did the one child, like you could only have one child. Let me see. I think it's China if I'm not wrong. Uh-huh. China has over a billion, but isn't one problem that Africa is split among many different countries and cultural groups. It's a continent, not one country. Yeah, it's a continent. It's a continent. Uh, Today somebody asked me, do I think Africa can unite? And I said, I don't think Africa can be able to unite because we are dealing with selfish leaders that would never allow that to happen, because that would take their presidencies, it would take their political seats. Also, another thing, it would be so hard to manage Africa as a whole, as a country, because you can look at corruption. So some of these places would never get the resources. So in my opinion, I feel like maybe Africa uniting would be one of the most powerful moves that Africa would ever make. But it could be dangerous. It could be dangerous for so many reasons. Okay, some of the places would never get developed at all, at all, at all. Okay, which country? Yeah, China. The one child policy. Okay, let's look at the one child policy in China. Okay, the one child policy. Uh, the One Child Policy was a controversial population planning initiative in mainland China, implemented between 1979 and 2015 to curb the country's population growth by restricting many families to a single child. The program had wide-ranging social, cultural, economic, and demographic effects. Although the contribution of one-child restriction to the broader program has been the subject of controversy. Its efficacy in reducing birth rates and defensibility from a human rights perspective have been subjects of controversy. China's family planning policies began to be shaped by fears of overpopulation in the 1970s, and the officials raised the age of marriage and called the fewer and more broadly spaced births. A near universal one-child limit was imposed in 1980 and written into the country's constitution in 1982. So it was the country's constitution, the one-child rule, okay, in China. You could only have one child in China. Numerous exemptions were established over time, and by 1984, only about 35.4% of the population was subject to the original restriction of the policy. In the mid-1980s, rural parents were allowed to have a second child if the first was a daughter. Wow, this is where the what is it called, patriarchy comes in. So in the rural areas, parents were allowed to have a second child if the first one was a daughter. It also allowed exemptions for some other groups, including ethnic minorities and 10 million people. In 2015, in response to demographic issues of the Chinese population, the government raised the limit to 2 children, and in May 2021 to 3. In July 2021, it removed all limits, shortly after implementing financial incentives to encourage individuals to have additional children, as well as so the population started going down, and they removed all the ban. You know, if you got pregnant, you had to like get rid of the pregnancy by force. It was not it was not please, you had to get rid of the pregnancy by force. Okay, I know you guys have chatted a lot. Let me see what you guys have to say. Would that ever happen? Could that be a thing? Could Africa ever unite? I just honestly, I don't think so. I think it's a good idea, but I don't think Africa can ever unite. We are just so we are so different. I think we are the same people, but so different. Not to mention, the leaders will never allow that to happen because it takes away their political seats. The other issue, is in each African country, there are multiple languages that also causes division and social issues. Yeah, even in this country, for example, here in Kenya, we are just not one people like that. You know, we are tribalists. We discriminate each other on the basis of like, which tribe are you from? So you can imagine, and that's one country. Can you imagine uniting all of this? Not to mention, there are people who even say they're not Africans because they are not black. So, woo. Just said that, okay. Bob says, maybe someday we need to have conversation on development economics. I think you would shine on that one. I am not so good. Okay, and we will do that one of the fine days. Not that we'll solve anything here. China is an evil country. Okay. How so? Okay. Bob says, Africa can unite. The problem is we are trying to speed run it. Africa unity must start small. The focus should be on uniting the tribes in the countries, then the regions. Yeah, because how can you unite the whole group if you've not united the I see what you say, but I don't think it will happen in our lifetime. Nor do I think it will happen in the other. I don't think it will happen in this generation, not even the other generation. Is a dragon with a long Why do you all say that? What is the explanation? Why do you all think that China is evil? Okay, let's keep reading on the one-child rule. One-child policy, okay. Implementation of the policy was handled at the national level primarily by the National Population and Family Planning Commission, and at the provincial and local level by specialized commissions. Officials used pervasive propaganda campaigns to promote the program and encourage compliance. The strictness with which it was enforced varied by period, region, and social status. In some cases, women were forced to use contraception, receive abortions, and undergo sterilization. Oh my God, that is so bad. You know, if you had already gotten the one child, you got pregnant, you would undergo abortion by force, contraception, sterilization. Families who violated the policy face large fines and other penalties. The population control program had wide-ranging social effects, particularly for Chinese women. Patriarchal attitudes and cultural preference for sons led to abandonment of the unwanted infant girls, some of whom died and others of whom were adopted abroad. Over time, this skewed the country's sex ratio towards men and created a generation of missing women. However, the policy also resulted in greater workforce participation by women who would otherwise have been occupied with childbearing, and some girls received greater uh, familial investment in their education. The Chinese Communist Party credits the program with the contribution to the country's economic ascendancy, and so see they credit this program. So they think that's why China have rose so much in the recent years, and says it prevented 400 million births. Also, some scholars dispute that estimate. Some have also questioned whether the drop in the birth rate was caused by other factors unrelated to the policy. In the West, the policy was widely criticized for human rights violation and other negative effects. Okay, so yeah, that's the one child policy. I don't know if the policy would succeed in Africa, because we are literally the capital of baby making. Hali says Wakanda will save Africa. You think so? God is in not sure on that one, but their government is extremely tyrannical. China has their hands all over Africa, exploiting them. Okay. Maybe even the leaders, the African leaders, are also greedy. That's why we are being exploited, actually. Because if they wouldn't go over there looking for help, begging, we wouldn't be receiving this help. Bob says the West keeps feeding the propaganda of a bad China and Russia. I'm always curious when people say China is bad to see if it's propaganda speaking of joining thought. China demands loyalty of overseas Chinese. Okay. It's not the people or the country, it's their communist regime ruining it all. Russia isn't bad, but their war is a mess. Okay. Bob says Americans abroad still pay taxes back home. The only country that does this. Yeah. That's also pretty much interesting. To keep your American citizenship and all of that, you have to keep paying taxes. That's interesting. Chinese living abroad must apply for visas to visit China. How you okay? Do China offer dual citizenship? Bob says if guys had talked about China bullying their neighbors, and would have been fair. Once America falls apart or ends, we have to plan to move to Uganda. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah. Honestly, China is the next big thing, guys. Brace yourself. China is the next big thing. Bob says the problem is you guys are judging China by Western standards. Non-Western countries would always fail that test. Okay. Yeah, I like the way China, they are mostly focused on what they want to do or what they are into. Honestly, not to mention even them keeping their own language is actually good, because most Asian countries have assimilated or whatever to the English and whatever, but for them they just keep their thing going. Yeah, do you think do you think your country would survive with the one child policy? Let's go with that. No, it's not from new. Okay, God is in control says no, it's not from news. I know this. It's from people there, Bob. Okay. Okay, do you think in your country you would survive the one child policy? Actually, the one child policy, would you survive? Honestly, out here I don't know if it would work, to be really honest. Honestly, I think that program needs to be introduced. Yeah, not in a bad way. I'm not in a bad way, but hey, we kind of need to manage a little bit. We are going overboard with the whole children thing. And see, if you don't have children, people will have a talk. Okay, why the children it's nice to have children. Oh my god, I think I have had so many people talk to me about, because I usually say that I don't want children. Oh my god, children are such a good thing. It's one of the best things that could ever happen to you. That's okay, but for me, I think I've, you can't sell the idea to me. It's like, okay, if you want a child, go ahead. But I'm allowed to lecture over that is just stupid, in my opinion. One child policy was a horrible policy, but it's bearing fruits, I guess. Yeah. See, actually, on that article that I just read, you guys, they actually they what is it called? They credit their success that they've seen in recent days. They credit it to the one child policy, and they favored the male. But the problem is, with the one child policy, and they wanted only a male, so then they ended up with lots of men with no women. So, okay, India overtook China in population some time back. Okay, before China started the one child policy. Yeah, I feel like if China would not have started the one child policy, maybe they would not have made it the way they have. God is in good. They have a social credit score there, meaning if you speak your mind on the internet or in public or have bad views on the government, they will literally ban you from travel or driving. Wow. Oh my God. Are they living in heck? Bob says, who knows, China may have had more population, although the richer a country gets, the more birth rates decline. Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe initially when they introduced this thought of like one child policy, for them maybe it was a joke thing, or like it was something that's supposed to encourage people not to have children. But I think a habit is a disease. 40 years from 1980 to 2020, of course they stopped that in 2050, but officially in 2020, that's like 40 years of that. Maybe people are used to that. You only have one child and that's it. China is a whole study. Okay. Bob says God is good. The US has cancel culture. If the public doesn't agree with your thought, you can lose your job and all that. Wow. Yeah. I'm not defending China, but wow, China bad cannot be only liberty. Okay. There's so many things that I like about China personally. Honestly, I like how they're hands-on of everything. I like they're so hardworking. Maybe I would like to say they're intelligent because the type of the small gadgets that they have, it's almost like they have a small gadget for everything. Okay, I just feel like whenever I get on when I'm scrolling and then I get on the Chinese algorithm, I'm just there enjoying. Mm-hmm. It's like saying USA bad because of the wars they started and funded only. Okay. Mm-hmm. God is in control says, not really, Bob. Maybe in Rebrock guest states, but not here in Texas. Nobody cares about cancel culture in Texas. Oh, okay. Yeah, the people there are good. It's not their fault. They are under such control. Okay. Yeah, but if the system is working, let me tell you, maybe for some of you Americans, it's like, oh my God, China is overtaking. But yeah, the fact that the program worked, maybe if we started the one child policy here in Africa, maybe that would liberate us. That can liberate us literally. Uh, China is on track to overthrow the US as the world superpower, far more closer to that than Russia ever was. Okay, and I believe they will become the superpower. It will never happen. Why will it never happen? When it comes to economics, they have overtaken. They have more companies. Most of the things they are made in China. Um, yeah. And also another thing is pretty much easy. See, most Western countries or countries that think that they are all of that, they don't even allow people. They don't allow people from poor countries to travel to their country. See, with China, actually, I know so many Kenyans who go to get the things that they sell here. They go to get the stock in China. Very, very much easy to travel to China, actually, for most people. Uh, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they are gonna start doing that. But it's pretty much easy for Africans to travel to China. And all of these countries that quote unquote are first world and rich, it's not usually that easy to go over there. They don't allow that. Holly's music, nice. How are you doing? Good to see you. China's economic dominance can't be denied. Okay. The one child policy is invasive and evil. No government should ever tell you how many kids to have. Okay, but if you're becoming a burden to the government, yes, they can. If you're just over there, you're not controlling yourself. You're just over there. Somebody needs to stop you. You guys need to be stopped. Okay, have you ever seen somebody with so many children? Then you're like, hey, these people needs to be stopped. Otherwise, they're gonna feel the world by themselves. Mind you, this is in USA controlled global economic system. Okay, we all trade in the dollar, and as such, USA can export its inflation globally, and yet China's economy has become such a threat. Yeah, and actually, I think almost nobody uses the Chinese currency. We all use US dollars. In physical policy, China cannot control the world. Okay, why? Explain. Okay, oh my god, my chat is usually so random. Still, guys, we still have the space for choose a random topic and we get to talk about it. So you have something to talk about, let's go. China is a hired world factory. Okay. Bob says the USA still maintains a greater control on violence. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe that's why China can never. I don't think China they are into that. Okay, economically they will overtake and rule, but so that you can rule, you have to control the economy and you have to control the guns. Yeah. Okay, because yeah, trends change, politics change, it won't happen. No country will ever control the world. Ooh. But the US manufacturing is no longer superior to China. Although the USA has the largest military and the most amount of military bases around the world. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Oh my god, how do we get to talk about these things? I think I have one of the deepest, I think right here. The fact is, some of these conversations, I'm not even familiar with them, like really, really, really. But I'm so glad that, we have such a group right here. No country could take US. There's over 180 million gun owners here, and 20% of that are veterans who know how to shoot. Okay, wow. How about another country if they get the guns? Okay, versus all that is made in China. Most parents, they don't own them. Oh, most patterns, they don't own them. USA already controls the world. You need to read more. Okay, wow. Violence. Okay, let's still keep doing this. Choose a random topic and we get to talk about it. Yeah. Oh my god. Right here I meet people with opinions. You guys have opinions. Yeah, strong opinions. I think you need a beer. Okay. Ah, okay. The conversation is too deep. Cosmetics. Okay. Yeah, but I like it. I like it. Honestly, I like the deep conversations, to be really honest. I'm never a shallow person. So this is exciting. Let's have a conversation that like stimulates your mind. Let's argue. Next topic, guns violent or people violent? Oh, are guns violent or people violent? Let's go. Let me pin you. Are guns violent or people violent? Okay. And bear in mind, in the US, almost everybody owns a gun. So let's go. Are guns violent or are people violent? And if you can be able to share my live stream somewhere, please do. If you can be able to maybe share, if you have another app, maybe you can even share on your WhatsApp status. I would appreciate, just share the link somewhere and people can click and they can maybe join in sometime. I would really appreciate that, guys. Okay, are guns violent or are people violent? God is hell yes, we do. Just in my family and squad, there are over 40 guns. Wow. Okay, so in any case, if we came towards you guys, it's like boom, 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 done. Okay. Honestly, to be really honest, I I was so uneducated when it comes to I was so uneducated when it comes to the topic about guns. I was like, oh my god, like, you know, that is dangerous, you know. Okay, I was like, that is dangerous. Having guns, I was like, no, that has to be dangerous, you know, because what if you offend somebody and they can just, you know, they can just shoot you. So I thought that was very dangerous. I even said I have said that before, that if I ever move to the US, it's like, you know, you offend me and I'm just saying sorry. Okay, but I think by maybe the live stream and also talking to people in real life and seeing the mindset around it is like for the self-defense, and people are less likely to attack you when they know you can defend yourself. So I see that. But okay, the yes, the Kopoa, it's getting better, you know. We are working towards this. Thank you so much for watching. God is because here I'll start it. People are violent. Okay, people are violent. Okay, yeah. Okay, because I like a good debate. I would like to say, if because I like a good debate, maybe I would be one of those who says like guns are violent. But see, I think having an exposure to gun can be, sometimes you can react without thinking twice. Maybe that's my honest thought. You can react without thinking twice. Of course, people are the ones who are violent, but I think you can react without thinking twice just because you have access to a gun. That's my honest thought. How do you stop a bad guy with a gun? A good guy with a gun. But regardless, even when guns are banned in countries, bad guys always find a way to harm others. Yeah, you know, the criminals will always have access to the guns. That's one thing. Good night, Leo. Sleep. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, so in case, let's say, God, if you're given a chance to change the constitution of the United States, whereby you have a chance to like change the law that everybody should surrender their gun, and like you start living without a gun, would you pass that law? Okay, so everybody surrenders their gun, there's no guns, everything gets cleared, there's no guns. Would you make that to be a law? Okay. Good. So what? Well, it happens, but it's very rare. That's like saying someone driving a truck can easily run people over. It's true, and it does happen, but most gun owners are safe and responsible. Okay, okay. So you would never be triggered by somebody. Let's say somebody have hurt you, would never think about, oh my god, let me go and find them, let me go and, you know, you would never think about that. Okay, because sometimes people piss you off and you're like, you just wanna so with again, I think that that could be dangerous. But also I see the other side to it. I see the other side to it. And we actually start winding up now. God is no, it's in our blood and culture. Never would I ban that right from citizens. That would never ever happen here. People would fight back if they tried to take them. Wow. Okay, you think so? Okay, people would fight back. So, and the fact that you all still have the guns, that would be that would be dangerous. Well, yes, when people buy one, you must have a legal ID, proof of address, and background check. Oh, okay. So it's pretty safe. They can usually know who is the gun owner. Okay, so you just don't give away your gun like that, because if you do, maybe they can go and do a crime with the gun. Okay, wow. That's pretty much interesting. That's pretty much interesting. And see, this is the beautiful part of being open-minded, because you get to see the other people's mindset and stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. Like the live stream. Okay, and actually we will be winding up. But I usually start announcing this before even it's time. But yeah. Bob says, I think if citizens aren't allowed to carry guns, the government need to put a lot of more resources in ensuring that every gun the country can be accounted for. Personally, I wouldn't feel safe if everyone around me had a gun. Okay, I think me too, it's a new territory. I'm willing to like explore it, but it's a new territory. It's like, do you even get to upset people? That's my straight up thought. Do I even get to upset people and think about being safe? But from what I've had, I have talked to many Americans, and all of them said that like it's perfectly fine. They wouldn't imagine living in a world without. Okay. Yeah, I am so glad African countries we don't have that access, because oh God, eh, I I don't know, maybe it's a good thing, but mm-hmm. Okay. Guys also says, and certain states have different gun laws. Texas is one of the most free. We are known for that culture. Okay, but see, this, I also watch a lot of crime documentaries and stuff. This, you guys have an execution center in Texas, where like people get if you take a life, you take a life, your life gets taken away. Like, you guys have the, what is it called? What do you call? Okay, what do you call that? Where like you can sentence somebody to life in prison. Oh, death penalty. You have the death penalty in Texas. When you learn to drive, they'll tell you, assume every driver is insane. Okay. Okay. Assume every driver is insane. Okay. Bob, how do you think Nigerians would handle if the law, if you guys, if let's say we say that like, okay, from now on, you pass a law that in Nigeria everybody can have a gun like is in the US. How do you think that would go? How do you think that would go? Because already for Kenya, I think that's pretty much unsafe. Uh, that's funny, Bob, because here I'm constantly around it, and I'm an instructor. I'd rather be around armed people than not non-armed. In Europe and Africa, I felt naked because I always carry mine. Oh, and we don't get to do that out here, okay? Uh, like in public, you never know who will do what. So if I'm around armed friends or people, I know the threat will be put down first. Okay. Oh, people self-governed. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I see how it's good, it's interesting, and all of that. But also, I see the other side. Bob says we already let people carry guns, but application is Zara, and the government can demand you to turn it in when there's a security situation in a state. Yeah, also I think also out here you can apply for a gun as far as you can maintain the gun. They think you're pretty much safe. They'll have to do all of those things, but out here, let me tell you for sure, it's usually politicians and influential people who have guns. Otherwise everybody else does not have a gun. Yeah, it's usually politicians and influential people with guns. Okay, everybody else does not have that. If people had guns like in the USA, the northern areas would become safer. Southern areas will get unsafe. Okay. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, there's something that you said that I wanted to comment on. Okay, what did your Ugandan wife think about that? Like, was she surprised? Okay, not surprised, but like, how does she? What does she think about almost everybody having a gun? Because honestly, I would like to see an African react in real time, especially when you live with people with the. But of course, if you're not a citizen, you can't have a gun, right? It's just the culture. He is a huge hobby: hunting, training, target shooting, and target shooting. Okay. Ooh. Yeah. When that becomes a hobby, that's when you know you're living in a different world. Wow. This thing just shut down. uh it's just the culture here is okay, I think I read that. Wow. So for those who are just joining in, how do you think your country would handle having guns like they have in the US? uh do you think it would be, I feel like, honestly, I feel like the US, I feel like you most of you usually overdo things, like almost, okay, maybe you guys are obsessed with good life or something. Almost everybody in the US have a washing machine and a dryer, and doesn't matter how expensive it is, these guys will get it. And I think it's the same thing with guns. It's like you can live without, but most of you guys choose to live with. Okay. At first she was on edge, but after meeting my friends, going to the gun range and me training her, she loves it. It's so common for Africans to be afraid of guns. Okay. If I ever go to the US, I'd love to pick up airsoft. Okay. Hopefully you'll go and you'll tell us. You will give us the reaction. She loves the AK, and I have a few of them. I was in heaven in Uganda. All the beautiful AKs I saw. Okay, yeah, they are pretty much common in Africa. The thing is, US have better. Uh, the thing the thing is, US has better credit system. Yeah, and also when you do these crimes, people get justice. Yes, I think people get justice. I've watched so many crime documentaries and all of that. They are pretty much that, and I'm not saying that people don't get away with these things, but I'm just saying they are much thorough with this. Okay, they are much thorough. um Very fun. Bob says in some African countries like Nigeria, we pay a lot of things in full, which makes it tougher to do these things on a tight budget. Yeah, all at once. While in the US, you can just use your credit card and be paying later on. Okay, honestly, that's a thing, because I I think I only know one or two people who have a washing machine and a dryer. To be really honest, yeah, I got to hold one. The family knows a park ranger. Okay, wow. I've always wanted to do airsoft since I was a kid. Sad we don't have any in Nigeria. Closest, okay, wow, yeah. Mhm. Okay. My God. Open the message. I'm still live. I'm still live. Okay. Uh, in Nigeria, it's mostly middle class and above. Okay, middle class and above. So people wouldn't be able to buy huge stuff all at once. Okay, God is in control. And yes, Mumbai, 95% of homes have heating and AC, washer, dryer, dishwasher, backup power, and running water. Okay, yeah, I think you guys are obsessed with good life, enjoying life. Okay. Yeah, those are some of the things that I admire about US. You know, having access to that, even if you get them on credit, and then you can be paying slowly by slowly. At least I think it gives you quality of life, especially the washing. I am so late. Okay, I clean sometimes. I clean clothes by hand, but most of the time I prefer to take them to get cleaned or to. But I am just so lazy when it comes to cleaning clothes, honestly. And doing that by hand, that's brutal. That's brutal right there. Bob says the things Nigerian homes lack in that is water and power. Mm, well, I feel like I think this country has done pretty much well in uh, putting on water and power and all of that. Power is purely corruption. Okay, yeah, I think they have done a good job, they're doing a good job, but when it comes to the electronics, most people cannot afford. What was a proposed IMF loan funding and mismanagement? Okay, yeah, but pretty much they can even dig a big borehole and then pump the water into a tank and then purify that water and start spreading it. Honestly, I never complain. I'm thankful to God. People have so much here, and I still complain. Spoiled people anger me. Okay. Oh God. Yeah. Honestly, you guys are living in the future. Okay, not in the future, basically, because they are. Don't get me wrong. Most people, some people. Okay, now let me not say most. Some people have these electronics. Some people have these modern conveniences, but not so many of them. Not so many people have the modern conveniences. Yeah, I think maybe it's your right. So you get to take so many things for granted. Very few places get their water from government. Most build theirs. Like in my village, most people dig a borehole. Like for us, we do a borehole. You do a borehole, and let's say if you have some money, you can pump the water, and then you can connect yourself. Yeah, our washer and dryer machine is wonderful one boy. Yeah. Oh God, honestly, it just makes your life much easier and stuff. I think there's a time that I went to Nairobi and I was staying in this apartment. There was a washer and there was a dryer. I got spoiled. Honestly, I have never. Okay, I think I have cleaned my shirts here there, but I think I have never cleaned clothes by hand from Fairroad. I just usually wait until I have some few coins and I just take it to I take the clothes to get cleaned. Yeah, that's one of the things that I'll get when I settle down. I just need that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Washing machine was one of the greatest inventions of man. Washing machines have helped boost economic productivity. I think there was a research on this. Okay, and I even saw a traditional washing. I saw a traditional washing machine where they put clothes in this thing and then they manually do like this. they manually, what do you call that, do like this, and the clothes get clean, like when they are doing like this. God is in control. Everyone here has a nice running car and AC and heating. uh we all have big TVs, internet, fully stocked giant grocery store too. We own 3 cars. I didn't complain, but some people complain when it's pathetic. Okay, they get to complain because maybe some of them have never experienced a life without that, so it's like that's just basic. Mark, how are you doing, Mark? Hey, bye, just got home tired. Oh, okay, have yourself a good night. Enjoy. Take a warm shower. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I know people here. Maybe there are people who live. Okay, I've never lived. Okay, I've lived in a cold place that I think would require heating, but we never use heating because it's just maybe we can't have. I don't know why we don't. Maybe, but mostly because it's like out of the budget. Okay, and maybe there are people who live in hot areas here because everybody always talk about hot Africa. I have never experienced that, but uh maybe there's places which they are hot but they never get access to air conditioning. Can't blame people for complaining even with previous human nature. Yeah, can you ever satisfy humans? It's like no, African landscape doesn't need heating in general. Yeah, but when you come where I'm from, you will need some heating, guys. It's so cold, although it gets like 8 degrees Celsius. I don't know if you would consider that cold, but I think the problem is the house is a shack, so it does not have insulation, so which means the cold from the outside gets inside the house. Yeah, that, and maybe that's the real problem. The cold from the out, you're not being protected from the cold from the outside. uh yeah, it's just a shame. I'm guilty of complaining about stupid things, but not anymore. Okay. Maybe when you travel, even me, don't get me wrong, actually, even with me, I feel like there are also some things that I have that other people don't. Honestly, there's always somebody who's having it worse. That doesn't mean that you don't get to complain. Our old architectural designs were more on cooling. See, the mud houses, they would keep the houses warm. Yeah, they would keep the houses warm. I feel like they were way better. These wood houses, like for example, in my village, it's very rare to see a mud house. It's wood, but the wood have some cracks, so they don't fill in the crack. It's not. They use, like, I don't know how you call that in English. When you cut trees and you get the good wood, there's usually the remains. That's what they used to build in my village, and it has some cracks. So if you don't fill in the cracks, or like maybe find a form of insulation, it will be cold inside the house. It will be cold. The mud house they try to use to mock us, help keep people cool when needed and insulated when needed. Okay. But anyways, good talking. I must go now. Dinner with wife. Okay. Okay. Enjoy. Say hi to her. If it were up to me, we would have cities built with mud housing method. I think there's a city. They do that. I don't know, but it's somewhere in Asia. They have mega buildings that are built out of mud. Okay, I want to see African mega cities and instantly spot a difference between it and Asia or Europe. Okay. Unfortunately, we have the standard, and the standard is Western. Yeah, although like US is pretty different because they use wood, and their houses are different. I always thought that like the houses in the US are made out of stones until I saw one being constructed. I was like, oh my god. Okay, their houses are so good from the inside. when you look it's like on the inside you can't even think that's wood. I didn't think wood could build such things, but nothing is impossible in US. Okay, and guys, we are winding up. I think 15 minutes we are gonna wind up and call it a day. Call it a day, okay? Yeah. The problem with the if the problem with the mud house, I feel like they would collapse or something. USA wood was adapted to their natural problems, and then they use heating and cooling, okay? Yeah, but still people find that, people usually challenge the USA building with wood a lot because it's like that's not a permanent building, and they use lots of money on it. The houses are pretty much expensive. It's like woo, okay. Yeah, mud houses when done well aren't that easy to collapse. Okay, how about when it rains? Okay, and I saw the houses that they had constructed before. Okay, right now I don't know anyone with a mud house, to be really honest. Most people in my village use the leftovers from wood, but the mud houses that were there, they don't usually collapse. It's actually quite difficult to build a mud house, okay, but it's usually is maybe the resources are more of it, but it's pretty straightforward. You put the poles, and then you put the sticks, and then you mix the soil with the cow dung, right? They don't melt when it rains. Okay, and I know they don't, but it's still. My grandmother, before she built another house, she had a mud house, but what she would do is like after every few months she would redo. She used to go and get clay, and every few months she would like retouch the house to give it a new look, inside and outside. So I never know. The last time I saw a mud house, I wasn't a teenager yet, but it was strong and in a region of Nigeria that rains a lot. At the time, it had lasted for decades, okay? So they are they are sustainable. Mud houses are sustainable. Okay, and I don't want you guys to say, oh, one boy is preaching mud houses. No, no, you get to choose whatever house you get to have. Okay, and guys, we just joined in. My good name is Womboy. We are winding up actually. 10 minutes to go. Okay, we just usually talk about lots of random things here. Bob says, I think we still build mud houses. We should adapt it to modern architectural exposure. Yeah. See, it's about making sure, see the floor, maybe, because I feel like that floors are, if you can't get cozy inside the house, that's one of the problems of our building. Okay, we usually build and we don't make them because we can have access to the cement and the things that we can use to make the floors not to be dark. I think actually the floor is what makes the mud house to be like no. And then maybe on the inside we can even apply limestone to keep them pretty much new and stuff. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think I've been talked out of the mud house. It's not something that I want or I need, but pretty much I think right now by talking about this I get to see these houses were built specifically maybe for the environment. Maybe it was the available resource, but still the environment, okay, they would keep in the heat and all of that. Okay, and guys, we are winding up right now. If you have something to say, keep typing. These have been a good 3 hours. Okay, wow, these have been a good 3 hours. I think tomorrow we are still gonna choose a random topic, and then we will see, because I feel like it gives us a chance to talk about the things that people are thinking about and stuff. So I'm gonna give you a few minutes to type as we wind up. But if you're just joining in, make sure you're saying hi. Let me know where you're watching from. How is the going? How is the going so far? the problem with mud houses, we stop improving on them. Yes, back glass building would have been a stupid idea, but then glass got better. Okay, yeah, back then. Oh yeah, and maybe I think, yeah, we should, if we should have kept improving them. And see, the walls, after you use the mud, the walls do not have to remain with the color of the soil. You can do like the house, the mud house that my grandmother had. She used to like smear it with clay after every few months. Honestly, you wouldn't say it was a mud house. It used to be very white on the inside. It looked like a stone house because of the clay. So the only thing that was missing, and she would also smear on the floor. So maybe what I would recommend for those who still are still wants to beat with the mud, maybe we do something about the floor. I feel like the floor, if you can't get cozy inside the house, then what are we doing here? Okay. Yeah, we are winding up. Let me know some of the topics that you would like to talk about some other time. Maybe I can prepare on them. But you know what? We'll still do the choose a random topic. If you are there on the live stream, we can talk about. Okay. So let's wind up. Oh, you've returned. Oh, you've returned, and we are winding up. Okay. We were talking about. I'm here to. Okay, we were talking about mud houses and stuff, and it's like Bobby saying the mud houses were specifically built to keep the houses warm. Yeah, because I was talking about how in my village actually the house needs heating because it's pretty cold. Like when I was over there live streaming at night, it was just so cold. I was just feeling like I was outside. We can talk about how so much of our lives depends on people's emotional reaction to us. Wow. Yeah, let me write that down. I think I have lots to say. Lots to say. I don't know. Maybe I'll do this for the night live stream, or what do you think? Because I do 2 live streams per day these days. You better keep streaming my videos, guys. If you want my channel to take off. Okay, I don't know if you want it, but if you enjoy watching me, how much of our lives depend on people's emotional reaction to us? Yeah, I have seen that in like, sometimes I'll post something and then I'll ask myself, why did I post this? Okay, and then I realize I'm posting this to get a reaction from people, you know. Preparing to trade Asia session. Okay, wow. When's the next live? Tomorrow. We do 2 of them, 3 p.m. and then we do 10 p.m. Kenyan time. Men aren't supposed to be emotional. We talked about this earlier. Men aren't supposed to be emotional. They can be whenever. Bob says if it's the same time as the one you did before this, I probably wouldn't make it sadly. Okay, you know what? Okay, so with this one, honestly, with this one I'll talk about it at night. Okay, so you're okay with this time? Okay. I like to take about you guys' time. Men are supposed to be emotional, but perhaps my perspective has changed. Okay. Yeah, men can be emotional. Daddy KVC, all the way from Australia. Hey, one boy. Oh, I'm curious. What's the time in Australia right now? Because when it's daytime here, is usually almost nighttime where you are. What's the time where you are at, Daddy KVC? Australia. The consensus earlier is that emotions are weak. Wasn't my position, but others felt so. Okay, yeah. People were saying that that men shouldn't show their emotions. emotions are, but maybe if you show your emotions to the right person, can you imagine working so hard so that you don't cry to your partner, or you don't, I feel like there's other more important things to do. Is 8 a.m. is, guys, it's 8 a.m. in Australia. Okay, I'm always fascinated by time zones. Bob says, but doesn't mean any sex isn't supposed to be emotional. Yeah, it's like you will expect a man not to cry when he just lost his mom or his dad. If you don't feel emotions, you're a psychopath. Ooh. Uh-huh. As adults, it's important to have emotional regulations. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you don't get to ever express yourself. It's a straight Sydney market. Sydney market, okay. Yep, guys, we are winding up. You just joined in when we are winding up here, but I'll do another live stream. So you can always join on another time. Okay. So wow, this have been such a good live stream. Honestly, some live stream I usually even feel sleepy. I start even sleeping on the live stream, but on this one, you guys managed to keep me on my toes. So sad earlier that they don't show emotions. Yeah, but I feel like people say stuff like that, so just you know I feel like most people say stuff like that to sound politically correct, but behind the scenes, they cry to their women, they show their emotions. Maybe they cry about random stuff. Okay, so say you rather. Mm-hmm. On the floor, Ali Amora. Okay, hi. What are you doing on the floor? Okay, winding up, guys. Winding up. So see you all tomorrow, and welcome back. If you were gone for too long, you were gone for yeah, your absence was noticed. Okay, so we are winding up right here. Also, you can under this video it's only 3:30 p.m. Okay, wow. And it's hot. Yeah, on this under this video, when I end the live stream, guys, you can let me know some of the other topics that you would like to talk about. Not to mention, leave a comment on something or engage with my videos, guys. I'm begging you all. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in. I'ma see you all tomorrow. Same time, same time tomorrow. Bye bye. And Eves, get off of the floor. Good night to you, and good day to everybody else.